Everyone, and welcome to Dynamic Divas. I'm Rachit, your host for the show. Our mission at Dynamic Divas is simple but powerful to shine a spotlight on the extraordinary women who are driving innovation and breaking barriers in the tech world, especially within Microsoft technologies like Dynamics 365 and Power Platform. We are here to celebrate their achievements, share their journeys, and get inspired to achieve more in our careers. Today, we are honored to have Jinnie Wong, Principal Product Manager at Microsoft, working in the space of Dynamics 365 and leading the most innovative product in Dynamics 365 finance stack, business performance analytics. Jinnie began her journey in finance, working as a controller and CFO for over 20 years before transitioning into product management at Microsoft. Her love for data and analytics led her to create products that simplify reporting for finance professionals, empowering teams globally. She is a strong advocate for continuous learning and pushing beyond limits. So let's dive into her inspiring story and insights. So please welcome Jinnie Wong. Jinnie, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you, Rachid. Thank you so much for the invitation. I appreciate you taking the time today.
Thanks, Jinnie, and thanks for taking out time from your busy schedule to join us in this initiative. We will start with a brief introduction of yourself and your journey into the world of Dynamics 365, and if you can highlight some of your key achievements for our audience. Thank you.
Sure. So I started my journey in actually finance and accounting. I started actually right out of college. I started for a startup doing Y2K remediation that then transferred into becoming a consulting shop after the year 2000 when we all figured out that we weren't going to die. So at that point in time, I worked solely in accounting, and I worked in, just in accounts payable, accounts receivable, general ledger. And so I have a deep passion for automation, especially in those areas. One thing that I've always done in every role I've ever been in is to try to figure out how to do my job better, right? So I call myself a bit of a hard, lazy worker because I like to be able to do a lot of things in a short amount of time, and so I'm always looking for ways to automate. And so one of the areas that I've done a lot of that in is in the area of like month-end close and reporting. So very early on in my career, I worked with the controller once, and she had this idea of bringing in a trial balance into a worksheet and then creating linked workbooks after that so that you would just update the trial balance and you could always review your balance sheet reconciliations and you'd be able to see the update. And so I kind of took that idea from her and then I started creating cubes around it. So the cube would feed a central workbook, and then that workbook would then, you'd be able to build your reconciliations off of that initial trial balance. So you just, it will continuously refresh as you close, and you can just go through and, I build a control sheet on top of that so I could see what was reconciled when, who owns it, it's essentially like a month-end close checklist reconciliation built in. And it was all done in Excel, right? So maintaining it was a bit of a bear, but that automation actually saved us a lot of time, and it was a great control. Our auditors loved it. So that whole project really sparked in me kind of a real interest in technology. And I should mention that when I went to college, I actually started off in computer science, but back when I was in college, and I don't want to date myself, but I was the only woman in my class, and I didn't have a lot of exposure to computers, and so I actually ended up dropping out because I didn't have the support system around me to tell me I could do it. And so I went back to what I knew, which was accounting. I had taken some accounting jobs when I was out of high school. And so I just went back into accounting and started doing that. But my love for technology never went away. And so I've always stayed on top of it. Now, the one company that fed my passion the most was actually Microsoft. I was a huge advocate for Microsoft Excel and Access. In every company I was a very strong Access users, and Access was the one place I learned about relational databases and how data worked, right, and the power of data. So, fast forward many, many years, the other things I got involved aside from my day-to-day accounting job, was software implementations. And so over the course of my career, I've implemented NAV twice and GP once. And so Dynamics 365 was natural for me. So I started, I ended my finance journey outside of Microsoft in 2016 when I worked for a toy company that was acquired. It was a board game company, actually. It was acquired by a German company. And I decided, do I want to go back into accounting, in the startup, small, medium company world, or do I want to try something new? And I had an opportunity to join Microsoft as a finance controller. And so I took the opportunity. It was my first large company experience. I came into finance and it was a very different experience. Coming from a place where you own the entire trial balance to a place where you own maybe one account or half an account was very challenging for me. So I came in and I worked in finance for about 3 years, and then I started looking for other opportunities. And I have to say, this is the one thing that Microsoft really affords well is the opportunity to stretch yourself and look beyond. I ended up in another team that was still within finance called Finance BI, and so I got managed to get involved in some projects that were finance related, but more towards the reporting. And from there, I used to help host these finance transformation workshops. We would hold these once a year, and they would be essentially for all finance in Microsoft, and they'd be able to come and learn about new and emerging technologies that Microsoft is putting out so they could rethink their roles. And it was in one of those workshops that I met a finance director who had made a transition over into a sales technical role. And I was very intrigued by her journey. So I had coffee with her one day, and she's the one who made the connection with me to join the product team. So I consider myself extremely, extremely blessed because I was actually at a crossroads in my life where I was actually considering going back to school to get my master's in computer science. So I could break into technology, but I ended up getting the opportunity anyway. The learning curve was extremely steep. I know accounting, I know finance. I'm very comfortable in that world. I don't know engineering as well, but I work with an amazing team of people who are not only patient but also extremely good teachers and extremely bright. And so I had the opportunity to break into this area. And then I was given the project of my dreams. That was business performance analytics. The business performance analytics, so it's essentially a summation of my career, right? This is what I've been working on my whole life is putting data together in a way that makes sense for the user and making it easy enough so that anyone can access their data in whichever way they want. So this journey over it's been about 3.5 years now since we started the BPA journey, and we're really close. So in October 30th, 2024, we'll be going to GA. So we're really close to that point, and so it's super exciting to be able to see how far we come. But what's even more exciting for me is to see what's in the future, and like what BPA can do, how far BPA can grow, and now with AI and with Copilot, what
Yeah.
more users are going to be able to do with it.
Wow, that is such a nice summarization, Jinny. Like you have summarized 20 years in like 10 minutes, but there are so many things coming out of it, like your love for accounting, automation, and your experience in the implementation field, which helped you carve out this product. And just like you said, it's a dream product. It's a dream product for us also who implement and work with customers to make the best use out of it. And definitely, we are looking forward to the launch and when the BPA becomes generally available. Um, I think few more things which you said is like the passion to grow, like you said you have got those opportunity and Microsoft gives opportunities to people, but then the people should also have that passion to go out of the comfort zone and explore new things and get themselves into that uncomfortable zone where you are learning new things, but with the support of a skill team around you, you can achieve your dreams. So I'm sure this is gonna inspire many people to achieve their dreams. And very great summary, Jenny. So business process analytics, as you said, like it's summarizing your journey as well. It has finance, it has automation, it has the all the latest uh, technology platforms. It's utilizing Power Platform, Fabrics, everything under the hood. So yeah, it's very. We are also keeping an eye on how it can grow and where it goes after it gets generally available. So, Ginny, tell us something about the type of challenges you have faced across the journey. Like, it sounds really rosy, but I'm sure it would not have been easy. You would have faced some challenges, some tough times, and so if you want to share some of those moments with our audience, so that if someone else is facing similar situation, it will help them.
Yeah. So I think, I'll speak on a topic that I think almost everyone can relate to. Is like imposter syndrome, right? And I didn't even know those two phrases existed together until maybe about a year and a half ago, and I was watching a tech talk and they were talking about imposter syndrome, and I was like, oh, I have that, and I think the biggest challenge behind taking on something new is the challenge that we have in our heads, that where we say, well, I can't do that, that's too hard, or who am I to walk into this area and say this is something I can pick up. And that's something that I really had to overcome in my head, right? It's is to really begin to ask myself, why not, right? If I really really want to do this, if I really like it, why can't I learn it? And I have to say, COVID was a turning point for me because, prior to COVID, we had our really busy lives. We're going to work, we're coming home, and then actually carving out time to learn and to study was an actual chore, right? But with COVID, I suddenly found myself at home for a long time. And I had weekends and I had nights, and I have a family, but I still had time, right? And so I really began to explore learning and learning in different ways, right? So not so much just going and taking a certificate or taking a degree, but I wanted to learn in a way that I could learn and apply directly. So I started working on small projects. I started taking small certifications, and just exploring, like, not necessarily things that I wanted to learn on a topic, but I took a class on disruptive strategies, that was at the Harvard Business School. And that class just opened up my mind, right, to a new way of thinking. And so then I started thinking about learning in that way. It's like, do I always have to learn something relevant, or can I just learn new ways of thinking? And so all of these efforts that I've made over the years has really helped me overcome that mindset of, like, why should I do this, or how can I do this? To be able to come to a place to say, if it needs to be done, I can do it, right? And I've always seen myself as a fixer. So that means if something's broken, I'll fix it, right?
Yeah.
But now I like to see myself as not just a fixer, but it's like I want to fix, and I also want to bring people alongside of me, so that
Yeah.
we can learn how to fix together.
Now you are fixing the industry-wide problem of financial reportings.
That's the goal. I really,
Yeah.
really hope to do it. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that is so true. I can relate to it as well. Like, there are moments when you feel that you don't know it, but you still have to do it, and that fire and that passion which is burning inside you to have that continuous learning and continuous growth mindset will help you to do and put some efforts in learning new things. And then when you learn it, and as you said, learn and apply, not just doing certifications for the sake of doing it, but doing some things which help you to gain that confidence, so that when you go out and talk to customers and talk to your team, you know what is happening and you can give them a direction. So
Yeah.
yeah, very well said. um, yeah, and this course which you did at Harvard Business School, which helped you to find new ways of thinking. That sounds very interesting. Do you want to talk a bit more about it? Like, what was it all about? Uh,
Yeah. So, I mean, the concept of jobs to be done was actually
right,
the foundation of that class, right? So it's super
right.
helpful because I didn't even realize going into the class how much it was going to help me in product management.
Yeah, right.
But it
True.
was, this understanding the job and understanding the strategy behind when you want to implement it, was key. Now, it's a long time ago, so I can't remember the key points of
Yeah,
the actual
true.
course, but that was my
Right.
biggest takeaway, is understanding when you're looking at a problem, it's like, what are you solving for? Are you solving the cause of the effect, right? And like, and to
Mm,
really understand, like, what is the job that's being trying to be
right.
accomplished. Like when we looked at BPA initially, one of the things we looked at is like, what are we solving for? And so we started the whole problem of BPA by looking at what were customers issues, right? And the main customer issue is that there's data everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And if you're looking at ERP system, you only have certain ways of getting your data out. Like you can get a
Right.
PO report, you can get an invoice report. But what if you want to join the two together? What if you want to
Mm.
bring in additional like expense information from other sources? How do you get that in there? And that just
Um,
became really, really challenging. And so we said, well, how do we get all this data into one spot in a data model that
mm.
makes sense, right? That makes sense. And
True.
and our biggest thing was we wanted to solve for the user, right? We don't. Developers will always figure things out. They're really smart,
Yeah.
right? The users are really smart too, in the sense that
True.
if they don't know how to get their data, they put it into 15 Excel spreadsheets and then they duct tape
Yeah.
it together, right? And then
Right. Because
their
they know the
month-end
data, right? Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
they know the
Yeah.
data, right? And so, like, how do we make it easier for them so they don't have to do that and their processes become streamlined? And the fact of the matter is, right, Rashid, like over the years of me working, the one thing I realized is that we have so much data, right? And we have so much insights at our fingertips. It's just that a lot of times we just don't know how to get it in to
Mm.
a place where we can start reading that data and we have control over the data. And so when we started looking at that, that was the job we needed to solve for, right? That's what we need to fix. It's like how do we get this data into the hands of our users? So yeah, that course helped me a lot with the process, even how thinking it through. I mean, also just based on the fact that I lived through it and I really wanted to solve those problems.
Right, right. No, I can see your point clearly now. And what I can relate is BPA is really putting the users in the center of the whole experience, because we have had traditional reporting tools. In if we talk about finance and operations, we have native SSRS reporting, but users did not have much flexibility to do anything. They just can select the ranges and run the report. Then Microsoft introduced electronic reporting, which is configurable, but it's so much configurable that and users don't understand it. And like in my experience, we still need developers to configure electronic reports for users. So that is a great tool, no doubt about it, but it still is not very end user friendly. Now with BPA in place, it is so intuitive because it is built on Dataverse. It's a model driven app. You can bring data from multiple sources, and you talked about the data models which are aligned to the business processes.
Yeah.
That is really making it helpful for users to relate to it. So I'm sure it's gonna go and grow much bigger and more than finance. Also, it will solve probably reporting for operational reports like manufacturing or supply chain or warehousing. So it becomes central reporting tool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
Right.
that is actually the eventual goal is that we started off with
Mm.
the finance model, but the goal is to
Yeah.
bring in project operations, commerce,
Right.
and all the other modules as well. Yes.
Cool. Great. Tell me something about how you are using AI in your life, and what do you think how it will impact the future?
When I think about AI, so I've been thinking a lot about AI from the customer perspective, right? And like I have a finance brain, so I think about it from the finance user's perspective. A finance person, when they look at AI, what they're looking for is first and foremost automation and accuracy, right? Can you make my job faster and can you make it as accurate as if I was doing it myself? And those that it's just key. It's key, right? We
Right.
if we automate something, there has to be a good amount of verifiability in order for the
Yeah.
user to be comfortable with it. And so,
Right.
like, a lot of times, like I've tried many scenarios where, just copy trial balance data and put it into Copilot. And then we try to do an, like, variance analysis and stuff based on that. And I see
Yeah.
so much potential, right? Because we know that in a month end close process, you've got your prior month, prior quarter, prior year balances, current month, current quarter, current year, right? Then you've got all
Yeah.
your commentary, right? From all your prior month close, you got all your commentary. Now,
Right.
some companies are smart enough that they put them into tables and they've associated them with dates and months and years. Now, I was thinking if we have all of that data in Copilot, how wealthy can that be for our customer? What an amazing experience, right? For a customer to be able to go back and be able to give a dashboard to their CFO, and the CFO just go in and say, why is my actuals to budget off by 2 million this year? And
Right.
Copilot already having all this information that's been fed into it based on actual
Right.
analysis done, right, can go back and answer that. But not only that, because like the BPA data model is written on transaction level data. We write the model based on the lowest grain of data, right? So your invoice line transaction, your GL line transaction. Now Copilot has not only the commentary that's provided, it's got detail to back it up, right?
Right.
It can go and say this vendor spend was this high or this customer spend in this month on this invoice,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
so and I think the opportunities are limitless, right? And it'll just take us time, right? A lot of
Yeah.
time and a lot of iteration and to get there. But when I see the potential of the future, it just makes our work so much easier and so much more accurate, right?
Right. No, that's a fantastic point. Automate plus accuracy is the key, and with Copilot, definitely these things can reach to next level. Like I saw similar example in demand planning. So when we use Copilot
Yeah.
in demand planning application, it tells you exactly how that variance is coming from which product from which date. Something similar comes in BPA will be really helpful. Cool. Right. And Jenny, we are coming towards the end. I want to know what type of, if you have to give some advice to people who want to get into the space of Dynamics 365 and or if they want to cross skill, what type of advices would you give to people how they can get into this space?
Yeah, I think two really important things is number one, know the domain really well, right? Learn the domain, take your time, learn the domain really well, understand the problems that exist in the domain, and play with it, right, as much as possible. The second one is, especially in product management, listen to the customer. I mean, if we don't give the customers what they want, then what are we building, right? And I think our customers have, with business performance analytics, we started a cab 3 years ago when we started this process, and we brought customers alongside of us every step of the way. They've seen us go through the many iterations of success and failures, a lot of failures, and have been extremely patient with us. But their feedback has been extremely key. Their comments, their quotes, right, has been a huge encouragement. And I have customers that have literally followed us for 3 years that I treasure with all my heart because these people really believed in the capabilities of business performance analytics from the beginning, and they're waiting to see what comes out at the end. So, know the domain, listen to the users. I think these are the customers. These are the best things that we can do to break into and to understand what the product needs to be.
Right, a very interesting point, Jenny. Listening to customer is definitely very important because sometimes a lot of time it happens is that the implementation partners they are trying to add more value to the overall solution, but it probably is not aligned to what customers really want. We need to listen to them and solve their biggest pain first before we bring all the bells and whistles and we start implementing more things. So yeah, that's a great advice. Um, so cool, Ginny. Really appreciate your time today, and your presence on the show has been truly enlightening, and we are grateful to learn and for this opportunity to learn from you. So yeah, any final closing comments, and then we will wrap up the show.
Great. Well, no, I wanted to thank you again for the opportunity. I'll always talk about BPA and it's something that I'm
Right.
extremely passionate about. But no, I look forward to hearing how you started using it and hearing about what you guys have done as well. That's super exciting to hear.
Definitely, Ginny. We are
Yeah,
also running some community initiatives where we can gather more feedback, and we will bring it to Microsoft. And
awesome.
yeah, thanks for being for supporting the initiative. I wish you a great day and great success and all the best with the launch of Business Performance Analytics platform. And to our audience, stay tuned, hit the like button and leave your comments and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you,
Bye.
Richard. Bye.
Thanks.